Hey, it's January 21st, 2011, early in the morning, and unfortunately, when you're trying to keep tabs on what your government is doing, it's very hard to keep all the bases covered. And I'm doing this myself on my free time. I don't get paid to do this. So sometimes I'm going to back up and then come forward again. And this isn't going to be an example of it. Down below, you're going to see a couple links. Some of them are a week old, and some of them are more recent, but it's going to be foretelling of what to expect next week. First off, U.S. Senator Richard Lugar of Indiana, who is a top-ranking Republican on the Foreign Relations Committee, is on Political Capital with Al Hunt, and they're talking about relations with China, this and that. But if you go 5 minutes into the video, they touch briefly on the tragedy in Tucson, and he openly admits, like, hey, I want to bring the assault weapons ban back. So this is a Republican. So this guy is no friend of the Constitution. He sure is not a friend of the NRA or anyone else. I find it interesting that, Al Hunt calls him a mainstream conservative. Well, I didn't know restricting gun rights was a mainstream conservative point of view, not in my book. I'll also throw a link to an article on Politico.com about it. And the other article, which was posted on the 18th, McCarthy presses gun control ban on Tucson ammo with public support weak. Carolyn McCarthy still trying to get her attention. Frank Lautenberg is going to introduce similar legislation. I told you that. I expect to see that probably on the 25th or the 26th next week once the Senate reconvenes, because they're still out of session right now. I'm also anticipating that I'd be surprised if it's anything different than what Carolyn McCarthy's already introduced to the House floor. Only for the fact that Frank Lautenberg's in his 80s, I believe. He's been in the game way too long. He's lazy, and being that him and Carolyn McCarthy are neighbors, I don't see him doing anything dramatic other than picking up the phone, saying, "Hey, fax me a copy of that so I can get a Senate bill number for it." But who knows? We'll have to see. A couple other things I just want to bring out. Representative James Moran, who's in the House with McCarthy and who's a Democrat who's also a co-sponsor, called McCarthy's measure extraordinarily moderate. Really? So you want to take more of my rights? Like, McCarthy's bill doesn't do enough, you want to take more. Even more scarier than that, Senator Patrick Leahy, the Vermont Democrat, who is the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, which has jurisdiction over gun control legislation, said at a January 11th Washington event that there will be a push for restrictions, but I don't know if much will change. So you have several senators in the Senate, one of them's a Republican, pushing. They're already planning. They're not even in session yet. Like, they were in session on the 5th, and then they went out of session, and they're planning to reconvene on the 25th. But there's senators on both sides of the aisle already talking and planning about gun control legislation, bringing back the assault weapons ban, everything else. Not to mention the fact that you got Carolyn McCarthy doing what Carolyn McCarthy does best, which is grab a photo op at every single opportunity you get and talk about your issue. So, but anyway, the links are down below. Check them out. I'm going to keep on top of it as best I can, guys. But you know what? You guys watch my videos. You know what you're going to have to do. You have to pick up those phones and start pressuring these lawmakers to get off your back, because they are coming. They're not hiding it. They are coming. Until next time, peace. God bless you all. God bless the Republic.